everyone, and welcome back to another video. It's Brianna Ray from BriIY here to bring you my first squishy makeover. Obviously these are super popular. I have never done them before. I'm also terrified that this is one of those things that like doing it in earnest is going to take forever and stress me out, because I don't know about you, but I really like the thrill of finishing projects quickly, or quick to finish project, because it makes me feel like I've done something. But I did find this cute little cupcake squishy at the Dollar Tree. It does have a decent squish to it. Not all of them do. It's also not super slow rising, but this one's at least not hard. Some of them I find are actually surprisingly hard. So instead of doing any crazy like surgeries or anything insane, I just thought I might redesign it, because I think the bow is really cute. I think the only thing I would do is take the bow away, but I would really like to just take a dab in the process, or take a stab at the process, maybe that's what I was trying to say, and just see if this is something I might be interested in doing going forward. So with all that said, I think it's time to get painting. Alright, let's talk colors. So I got these fabric paints a long time ago when I originally planned to do this project. You know, one of every color, and also some gold, because duh, it's me. So I really don't want to turn this into like my usual like soft pink and gold and white kind of design, but also, again, I really want it to match. So I don't know, I'm kind of stuck in between wanting to try something new and do something basic, so I think I'm gonna split the difference. I'm going to take some white. I'm gonna keep this little brown here for maybe some sort of a chocolate look. If I can blend these two together a little bit, and maybe some orange, I might get like a cakey tone to cover up this weird yellow. I want to try out the gold to see what it looks like, maybe on the bow and in some of the sprinkles. I might do a little bit of every rainbow color for this actual sprinkle element of it, and I'm thinking kind of like a gold and black striped cupcake liner. I don't know. Let's start with the cake color, because I think that's going to be the most complicated. Let's start mixing and see what happens.
I think it's hilarious that I tried to do this montage of me aesthetically opening up all of these containers, but it was the most annoying thing to open I've ever experienced in my entire life. And of course, I did end up adding a little bit of yellow back into this cake tone to kind of create that vanilla yellow cake look. I think it turned out all right, and I did cave a little bit and go for the white frosting instead of chocolate.
So I am very much on team multiple thin coats, because I don't want this to be lumpy or weird. It already feels kind of lumpy and weird, and I think that was a poor brush choice on my part. I just grabbed the first one I found, and that was not a good move. But I am going to cover these paints so that I can keep them, and I'm going to let this first coat dry for, let's say 30 minutes. Should probably be enough since it's thin. I also accidentally started painting before I managed to sand, because I am a doofus. So I'm also now going to turn this into an experiment. I'm not going to sand the top, obviously, which is why I finished painting it. And after this is dry, I am going to sand at the bottom, and we're going to see how much that is impacted. Now, to be fair, it's already pretty, like, I wouldn't call it a very smooth texture. You can already see a lot of like the holes and things kind of poking out through this like thin layer of whatever's on top of it. Not that I think I shouldn't have sanded it anyway, but I'm hoping that it won't make too much of a difference. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. Let's let it dry, and we'll come back and add another coat and sand the bottom, and then paint the bottom. Alright, it's been about an hour actually, and it's dry to the touch. I've got my wrapped paints I'm going to take out so I don't have to worry about remixing anything. They still look good. Smell gross, but yeah. And I've also got a sanding block, so I can come in and make some basic rough scritchy scratchies all over this baby. I do go with a pretty fine grit just because I'm not trying to destroy it, just rough it up a little bit. Also, it is what I had, so I'm not taking any criticism for it.
So now it's time to go in and add another layer, and you can already tell how much better it looks with even just that second layer. I did kind of recognize as I was going around that my brush strokes were definitely showing up and sticking around, so that's something I might look out for if you're ever doing a project like this.
All right, we've gone through a couple of layers and a lot of drying time. I found that blasting it with the hairdryer definitely helped. It still has its squish, which is super exciting. Yeah, and now I think it's time to really decorate, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, I'm going to get a detail brush to go around the edges with the gold of this bow here. And I think that's where we're going to start, and then I'm going to go in with a detail brush as well and just kind of pick and choose some of these already raised areas, and maybe some extras like tiny dots as well to add some sprinkles. And I think it's actually shaping out pretty good.
It took about 3 layers of this gold over top of the white to get it to shine the way that I wanted to, and only about 2 over the black. I really don't know why that is, but it did happen. And I also did go in with a lot of pinks for my sprinkles. I used the raised areas and added some extras as well, just to bring in a little bit more of it. And also I used the length of the brush to kind of measure out my stripes around the cupcake liner, and I think it turned out pretty good.
All right, and there it is, a fully functioning squishy makeover. That one line is jank, pretend it doesn't exist. And so is that one. I don't know. It was kind of hard to tell in the lighting, because like sometimes when I'm down, like it looks like things aren't covered, but then it comes around and then you're like, oh, well, no, it is covered. And I had a hard time with the gold, I'll be honest. But overall, this was not as time consuming or as intensive as I thought it was going to be. I think the black covered really well. The white definitely didn't. The only thing that I think I really learned that I would like to impart onto you is you can see every stroke. So if you have like a really thick amount of paint and you take your brush and you slide it and it kind of has like a little extra gloppiness around the edges, that is kind of, that's just kind of what's going to happen. It's going to look a little janky, it's going to look a little funky and bumpy in places that you don't want it to. However, it does still squish. That I think is the most impressive part. Beep. And back up. No creases or cracks. Ah! I didn't paint the bottom. No judgment. But yeah, it still functions perfectly well as a squishy. And now it's custom. I obviously ended up painting the dots all pink instead of doing the multiple colors, only because I was having a really hard time kind of clearing it off of my brushes as well. That was probably the only other real like issue I had was that the paint actually dried a lot faster than I was expecting, so it did take a hot second to kind of get everything settled. I might do a couple more coats of the gold just to kind of finish it off before I leave it in the office, but overall I'm actually quite pleased with the way it came out, and I'm definitely not mad with my first attempt. So I don't know if this is something you'd like to see me do again, if you want to see me do a more like intense style of, I guess, makeover, just let me know, and I can always go out and try to find another one. I am very happy with it. I hope you are too, and if you like what you saw, feel free to like and subscribe. I put out new videos every Sunday at noon Eastern Standard Time, and I would love for you to be here for the next one. Thanks again so much, and I hope to see you then. Bye.